Have you ever heard of a magic trick where someone disappears from a locked box? Now, what if it wasn't a trick? What if an entire family vanished, not from a stage, but from their own home, with every door and window locked from the inside? This isn't a plot from a mystery novel. This is the baffling real-life case of the Jamison family. In 2009, Bobby, Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter Madison climbed into their truck and seemingly drove off the face of the earth. The truck was found abandoned deep in the Oklahoma mountains, but the family was gone. Inside, police found their wallets, phones, IDs, their beloved dog, and a staggering $32,000 in cash. Nothing was taken, no signs of a struggle, just an empty truck and a family that had vanished into thin air. Today, we're going to unravel the bizarre clues they left behind and explore the chilling theories that attempt to explain what happened to the Jamison family in the locked room mystery of the Sandboys Mountains. The discovery of the Jamison S pickup truck was just the beginning of a cascade of strange and unsettling clues. Imagine the scene. A remote mountain road, miles from anywhere. The truck is pulled over, and inside, the family dog, Maisie, is found severely malnourished but alive. This immediately raised a red flag for investigators. If the Jamisons had simply gotten lost or wandered off, why would they leave their daughter's cherished pet behind to starve? And then there was the money. $32,000 in cash, neatly stashed under the driver's seat. The Jamisons weren't wealthy. Where did this money come from? It hinted at something far more complex than a simple family outing gone wrong. Was it a payment? A getaway fund? This cash became a central pillar in the mystery, pointing investigators down paths of drug deals, cult involvement, and desperate escapes. As investigators delved into the Jamisons' lives, the picture grew even murkier. They were described as reclusive, and their behavior leading up to the disappearance was increasingly erratic. They had recently told friends and their pastor that their house was haunted. They claimed spirits, some of whom were named Emily and Michael, were living on their roof and communicating with their daughter, Madison. Sherilyn even owned a special satanic Bible which she used, she said, to exorcise the spirits. Was this a sign of genuine paranormal belief, or was it a symptom of something else? Both Bobby and Sherilyn were suffering from severe depression and chronic pain. Their extreme weight loss before they vanished suggested their health was in a sharp decline. This led to a troubling theory. Were they experiencing a shared delusion, a Fuli, Dokes, that spiraled out of control in the isolated wilderness? It's a psychological puzzle box wrapped in a paranormal ghost story. Perhaps the most haunting piece of evidence was found on Sherilyn's phone, recovered from the truck. Among the normal family photos was a single, chilling image of 6-year-old Madison. It was taken the day they disappeared. In the photo, she looks somber, almost fearful, with her arms crossed. It's a stark contrast to the happy, smiling pictures typical of a family trip. What had happened to make this little girl look so distressed? Did she see something? Did she know they were in danger? This single photograph speaks volumes, a silent testament to the fear that may have gripped the family in their final moments. It's an image that has haunted investigators and armchair detectives for years. A small, heartbreaking window into a tragedy we may never fully understand. The look on Madison's face is a question mark that hangs over the entire case. As if the story wasn't strange enough, the Jamisons' home added another layer of mystery. It was like a time capsule from the day they left. But inside, investigators found bizarre messages. Sherilyn had written a long, rambling 11-page letter to Bobby, filled with accusations and anger, describing him as a hermit and saying she wanted a divorce. Yet, just before they left, they were seen on surveillance footage at a gas station, moving mechanically, almost in a trance, making multiple silent trips back and forth from their truck to the ATM. Friends also reported that the couple was involved in a property dispute with Bobby's father, who had allegedly threatened them. This opened up another avenue. Could this have been a family feud that turned deadly? The clues were pointing in every direction at once. Paranormal entities, declining mental health, a large sum of unexplained cash, and a threatening family dispute. The investigation explored several major theories, each with its own compelling evidence. The first was the drug deal theory. The remote location and the large amount of cash were classic signs of a narcotics transaction gone wrong. Oklahoma's rural areas were known hotspots for methamphetamine production, and the Jamesons, described as slow and acting strange, might have gotten in over their heads, but no drugs were ever found, and no connection to any drug ring could be established. Another theory focused on a cult, the family S. religious preoccupations, and Sherilyn S. Strange writings led some to believe they had fallen in with a dangerous religious group. The area was known for some extremist white supremacist sects. Could the family have been trying to join, or perhaps escape, such a group? This theory, while dramatic, also lacked concrete proof. The most tragic theory was that it was given their depression and erratic behavior. Could Bobby or Sherilyn have reached a breaking point, leading to this final, desperate act in the wilderness? This would explain why they took the cash and drove to such a secluded spot. But friends and family insisted they would never harm Madusa. For long years, the mystery hung in the air. The Jameson family was simply gone. The case went cold, leads dried up, and it seemed the mountains would keep their secret forever. Then, in November 2013, a group of deer hunters stumbled upon skeletal remains just under 3 miles from where the truck had been abandoned. Forensic analysis and dental records confirmed the unthinkable. The remains belonged to Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison Jameson. They were found lying side by side, face down on the ground. The discovery, however, only deepened the mystery. Because of the severe decomposition over 4 years, the medical examiner could not determine a cause of death. There were no signs of trauma on the bones, no bullet holes, no knife marks. All that was found was a small, unexplained hole in the back of Bobby's skull. But experts couldn't agree if it was from a bullet or simply post-mortem animal activity. The discovery of their bodies answered the question of where they were, but it left the most important question unanswered. What happened to them? With the bodies found, the case didn't close. It just became more frustrating. The location where they were found was rugged, but it was an area that had been searched multiple times in the years since their disappearance. How were they missed? Were they moved there later, or was the initial search simply not thorough enough? The position they were found in side-by-side face-down is also peculiar. It doesn't look like they simply collapsed from exposure. It feels more deliberate, almost like an execution or a ritualistic placement. But with no evidence of foul play on the remains, police were stuck. The district attorney ultimately stated that, based on the bizarre circumstances and the family's state of mind, the most likely scenario was that they succumbed to the elements after getting lost, possibly intensified by a psychological breakdown or even hypothermia, which can cause paradoxical undressing and confusion. But this doesn't explain the cash, the locked truck, or the strange letter. It feels like a convenient explanation for a case that is anything but. So, where does that leave us? The official explanation leans towards a tragic accident, a family lost in the woods, their minds clouded by personal struggles. But for many, this explanation feels incomplete. It doesn't account for the $32,000, the hateful letter, the threatening father, the trance-like behavior on camera, or the eerie photos of Madison. Could they have been running from someone? Were they met by someone in the mountains, who took their lives and left no trace? Could the paranoia about spirits in their home have been a manifestation of a real human threat they were too scared to name? The locked room mystery of the Jameson family isn't locked anymore, but the door has been opened to a room full of even more questions. It remains one of America's most perplexing unsolved cases, a tragic story where the truth seems to have vanished along with the family, lost somewhere in the desolate quiet of the Sans Bois Mountains. The story of the Jameson family is a haunting reminder that sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are the ones that happen in real life, with no neat conclusion or satisfying answer. What do you think happened? Was it a drug deal? A cult? A family feud? Or a tragic psychological breakdown? Let me know your theories down in the comments. This case is a rabbit hole of possibilities, and every opinion helps shed a little more light. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into one of modern history's most baffling mysteries. If you found this story as fascinating and heartbreaking as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the unknown. Stay curious and stay safe.